Guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part 3 of the Range Rover LSE Classic rebuild. I thought I'd come in now, let you know what we're doing. There's going to be a little bit of time lapse. It's all stuff that you're not going to be able to see. Unfortunately, I do only have the one tripod and it is quite short. It's sort of chest height. I never thought I'd need a bigger one, but I have got one on order. So today we're going to be getting involved and removing everything from underneath inside here in the inner wings so that we can get to the corrosion and cut it all away, inspect it further, get right down into the nitty gritty and just see how far back we got to go. We just want to achieve getting rid of every single bit of rust. Now we know from previous that there is a bit here and there is a hole under there, and we also know that there is a small rot hole down there. So until we've completely stripped all of that out, got underneath the bottle, we have looked and they are quite common to go underneath this bottle. Obviously we can't get under there until we've unbolted it, but from underneath it does sound solid. But we do want to get all of that completely stripped out so that we can inspect it and so that you can see it. We'll then be moving on to this side and removing everything from this inner wing, i.e. the battery, the header tank, that tank there, carbon tank maybe, or suspension tank. We're going to just remove as much of that as we possibly can, just so that we can get down and see what exactly is behind it. You would have remembered in part 1 when I did mention that this looked new. Not new, but it looks like it had been replaced. And we have had a good poke around in there and it does seem very, very solid. If you can see, that little bung hole there that is actually supposed to be there. I'm assuming that that's what was on the other side and it's rotted away. But again, this one does sound all solid. So we're just going to get in there, see what we've got. And then obviously I'll come back and I'll show you exactly what we have got, get it cleaned up and start prepping it to have the new panels installed on these parts. So let's stop waffling on and get involved. Moving on pretty quick there. Thought I'd come show you the inside of these headlight boxes. I know I did say that I'd seen the inside of them and they was rust free, so I just thought I'd actually show that. They are absolutely solid, those headlight boxes, so we're grateful that they're not going to need any work. I stripped as much out there as I could, or as much out as I actually needed to, and to be fair, it really didn't look that bad this side. So originally I said there was a little hole here, same as the other side, and as you can see there's like one here and it's got a bung in it. Obviously the bung wasn't put back in and that has created a bit of rot and that has started rotting away there, so that would need replacing. And obviously I'm not sure what was here, maybe a wire tie, but something causes the rust. Whether there was a hole there or not, I really don't know, but again, we have got that hole there. And then further back, as you can see, it's actually going here, and there's some surface rust here. But I wanted to get that bottle out, so hence I had to remove all of this wiring. That's the loom for the headlight, the horns, everything. It all runs along this inner wing here. So once I removed it and lifted this up, as you can see, that inner wing, between the inner wing and the bulkhead there, it is actually split away. And you can see the main bung for the wiring loom there is literally just above it. So I have now, I'm not sure if the camera picked it up or not, but I have actually started stripping out. I've taken out that passenger side front carpet. I've started loosening up the sound deadening. This is very, very wet. Obviously last time we washed it, all the water has run down in there and actually gone into the car. But the floorboards are looking okay, the floor pan so far. But I am now going to remove this seat and actually get the centre console out, get all this sound deadening completely removed so that we can move everything out of the way of what we're going to be welding up. It makes so much sense, and it's all got to come out anyway, so we've decided to take the plunge and just move forward and actually get all that out right now. Chris is doing really well on his side. Obviously there is a lot more stuff over this side than there was on my side, but it is looking really good, Chris, right? Because that has, like we said, it's been replaced.
Similar to the other side.
But similar to the other side, there is some rot down there, and I can see there is a little bit down here, but the inner wing does look very, very solid all the way along. So it was obviously just that part that was replaced. But yeah, we really are moving along with it. I'm going to pop it straight back in the holder and continue on. So I've just stripped that whole seat out. It was quite heavy and that's sound deadening. As you can see where we have washed it previously. Hopefully this works, yeah. It's quite full up with water, so it's a good job we got that out today, because we don't want that sitting in there full of water, and we will be moving, taking out the driver's seat and that carpet and underlaying them in it as well. The centre console's now lying in the back. I've unplugged all that and removed it from the centre. But as you can see, that just as we expected, that floor, let me just bend that torch down a little bit. Just here on the edge, we have got just pure surface rust. There's no rot in that at all. And the floor is absolutely solid. We have got that hole down there, which we know, you can see that from the outside. And right up the very back there, we have got that where that's cracked. So I'm gonna need to strip out the wires and all the few little boxes and bits and pieces, ECUs that are up there. I don't think there's any ECUs, but there is some relays up there, and some other various little bits like the heater box and all the wiring. So I really want to pull that right through. I will just walk back round here, sorry. Just down there, as you can see, guys, that grommet, I do want to remove that and pull this whole wiring loom through that hole out of the way, and then Chris can get in there and obviously repair that. We are going to be replacing, I should think, this whole section, Chris, aren't we? This inner wing, which is basically from that front part there to that top part, and it is one piece. And inside here, these are just covers. There's really not a lot to that. It'll be nice once the other one is down on the floor and we can show it, but we'll probably be, we will be replacing that whole section, and obviously we'll be replacing this section here and this section up here. Round to the side where Chris was working, yeah, we have dug it out, and obviously it is a little bit worse than what we first thought, but it's all very, very repairable. As you can see, he has now stripped all that inner cover out, and it really does show you how small that actually is. It's not a huge part. It is literally just the inner wheel turret, you know, it's the inner wheel arch. So we have got a bit of surface rust along this edge here, and I would think, well, judging by the look of it, it does look a little bit ground down. So I was saying I think this has been replaced, and it probably has, but this bit hasn't. And where they've joined it here is where it's actually started to actually go rusty, and maybe this wasn't wax oiled. Quite a lot of people said in the comments last night, Rob, it was an actual upgrade and an extra that you could have when you purchase these cars. You could have the whole car completely wax oiled, and it was like an extra, and it cost quite a few pounds. But a lot of people said this looks like this was done from the factory. And when we was just in that passenger side footwell there, I did just dry all that up after I took the sound deadening out, and I chucked the heat gun in there just for a couple of seconds to warm it up, and the wax oil actually started running. So all the floor pans have been wax oiled inside as well. So I'm starting to come around to the idea of whoever left that comment is absolutely correct, and we think that this has been wax oiled from new from the factory. The battery box, you see a couple of very minor little top surface rust there, but in very, very good condition and still covered in the wax oil. So we are going to be replacing this inner wing as well. You can hear it sounds quite tinny because it is quite rotten and it's coming away. And again, down here we have got a couple of rust holes, so we'll be replacing it. But the good news is this one, just shining the torch down there the best I can for you without blocking it, this one hasn't rotted where it meets the bulkhead, so that is good news. But you did find a little bit further down, Chris, didn't you? So down under here, as you can see, it has got some rot through there, but they do this as a repair panel. So I am going to get on the phone in a minute and add that to my order and try and get that. This part here, I think we went through last time. It is very, very solid, and this is just very, very minimal surface rust that we'll be rectifying, and obviously the little panel that we'll be repairing in here. So quite a successful day already. We started it about 9:30. It's now about 11 o'clock. So they're so easy to work on, Chris, aren't they? So simple. It's compared to, you said earlier about that Range Rover Sport.
Oh yes. Yeah.
It's just completely different. A lot more room, and it makes it so easy to work on. Once we do get these welded in, obviously we're not going to be in a rush to build it up, because guys, look how much room we can get to now to get to the engine. Like, as you know, that rocker box has got to come off and be all solder blasted and redone, as that plenum. You know, we are going to be going through it all, so it's really nice to see just how much room there is. I'm going to come back shortly. We get the driver's seat out, and we'll have a good look inside there and see how far we've got to go. But yeah, today is just really about stripping it out and seeing where we're at, and whether we do need to order any other parts. It's really nice to see that boot floor done now, and it's the back floor in it is absolutely lovely, where your seats go. What I wanted to do, but it doesn't always plan out like that. We wanted to do the boot floor and then move on to the seals and then move on to the front sections, etc. But it doesn't matter what way round we do it. It's, you know, we're committed now. There's boxes and boxes of stuff in the container. There's more stuff to put away, and we are pretty stripped down. So we know it's not going anywhere now until it's done. So we'll just continue on and try and do our absolute best with it. And there's going to be no particular order, but I assure you we will be cracking through it and getting every bit of rot and rust out of this car and bringing it back to its former glory. I want to see this as beautiful as all you guys do, and that is the plan for this car. So I was just literally running around having a good clean up there, working round this side while Chris was on the other side, giving it a big blow and a brush out with the airline there. Then Chris decided that he was going to go down and absolutely crack on with these yellow hoses. We absolutely hated them from the day we got the car, and he said, I am going to tackle those today. They're underneath there. We're going to be doing a lot of welding. I want them out the way anyway. And there was quite a lot of excess stuff. As you see, he's just chucked over another piece that was completely excess. They're all after faults, and it had a couple of gauges on it that shouldn't have been on it. While he was under there removing them, he had to get inside the air suspension pump, and he has completely removed that and the bracket. Now, as you probably will remember, in the earlier videos, you see the car up, you see the car down, and in the most recent videos, we haven't been able to lift the car up. It does make a noise. There is a bit of an intermittent fault with it, but fortunately for us, we do have a new pump, so we will be installing that in this box. We do obviously plan on having this box. We possibly going to chuck it in the cabinet and blast it on camera, and then we'll whip it over and have that repowder coated. We just want to try and make it look very, very nice. It's going to be all new inside, and obviously we will clean it all up. So on that very long time lapse there, we was literally digging out and getting to the nitty-gritty very bottom of it. I will move around to the driver's side in a minute, but it is quite difficult because Chris is underneath there and I don't want to get in his way. But this side now is all stripped out, and as you can see, all of this loose dust that I cleaned up earlier has actually come from that inner wing part there. It's actually all collapsed and it's all fallen through. So I've said earlier in the video, we are going to be replacing that. We're going to replace, we've decided now, we are actually going to buy a whole repair panel for this and replace it. Chris did get right up underneath here and dug it all out the best he could. And as you can see, that is quite rotted away in there. But they do a repair section for this that folds right up underneath. Even though the underneath of it is absolutely quite solid, just some surface rust, but it does come right under here. So we will be replacing that whole section. Obviously, I think I showed this bit earlier, we've had a good dig out and we are going to be replacing all of that. So basically all of this up under here that's got the holes in it is all going to be replaced along with this section and all of this. So it's a lot better now we've cleaned it up and we can see what we've got and what there is that we have actually got to do. We don't know how far we're going to go. Chris just said we must wait till all the repair panels turn up so that we know what we've got, and we may possibly need to order the odd other piece that needs to go in before we change other pieces. So there was a hell of a lot of stuff to strip out here, and Chris said we may still end up removing that ABS pump, and that is a very big unit. It looks like quite a lot of work. Round this side, again, we said earlier we will be putting a repair piece in here, but as you can see now he's dug it back, it has opened up quite a lot. And then down under here is actually a lot worse than the other side, but you can see clear as anything through there. You see me in there, I stripped out everything that was behind it. So to cause, obviously, once Chris is welding that up, I can be inside on fire duty. I know quite a lot of you like that, like I said last night, fire duty. So yeah, I'll be inside watching that while Chris welds in this complete repair panel. This panel, again, we have said from the start, it is in quite nice condition, just very minor surface rust. So we'll be obviously cleaning that up, re-seaming it, priming it and painting it when we paint the rest of it. So yeah, we've got quite far along, and Chris has obviously just taken all them pipes off, which is brilliant. I'm just going to grab the torch, guys, to show you inside here. I did mention in all the previous videos about this surface rust, and we have given it a good tap and it does seem absolutely fine. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much the gist of the inside of it. As you can see, that whole, I'm going to struggle to point here, but the whole of that repair panel does come right down all the way to the bottom here. So we will be, you can see where that one was actually seamed in. So we will be replacing that whole panel with a repair panel. But overall, we're quite happy. Obviously, all the floors and the inner seals on the car are in really, really good condition. We are now going to move on to the roof lining, and we're actually going to get that removed and put on the table in the other room so that we can assess the roof lining, basically, because we have got a plan for the roof lining, and I'll talk more about that in a moment once we get it out. Big important part of the build on the car. I appreciate we've got a lot of welding to do, and we are kind of way off getting down to the interior and the nitty-gritty of that at the moment, But this is quite an important job for us because this obviously is 8 inches longer than a normal roof skin, roof lining. So it's not available like many parts on this LSE. I was able to get those seal repairs in the right length for the LSE because they're made by a specific company. But Chris just said, you know what, we've stripped all the interior out, we've got down, we know what we've got now. We don't think there's anything hidden, we don't think there's any more surprises. We're quietly confident that we know what is involved in what we've got to do now. So we wanted to get this roof lining off, and Chris has done a bit of research, and basically there is several companies out there that actually do make a kit to repair your own roof lining. We have never ever attempted to do this, never attempted it at all. So we are going to give it a go, and we're going to give it a go, number one, to save us trying to source a second-hand roof lining or a new old stock one, because we know through looking we can't find one. And number two, we actually just said we think it'd make quite interesting content to do a complete video on, or maybe integrating it in one of the other videos, on installing a new roof lining. To some people it may seem quite simple, to other people they are going to want to see it. But as you can see, this is just like cotton. This is just like cotton material, sorry. And when this comes new, it actually comes with about 3mm of foam on the back of it. Now the foam has transferred to this board. So as you can see, when you really do rub it, you get down to the actual board itself. So what we're going to do is actually pull this off, and it doesn't look like it's going to require much help, Chris, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I did expect it to be a little bit more difficult than that. So yeah, that is now removed. The actual board part of it does seem in fairly good condition. There's no bends or cracks in it anywhere, and it come out really nice. And you can see that it does sit in all the way around the edges, and there's certain like different handles and bits and pieces that hold it up, the rear light. So our plan is, in a video, we're actually gonna go round this, probably by hand. That seems to be working okay, Chris. We'll go round, wipe as much of that off as we can, hit it with the wet and dry hoover, and we just try and get rid of all of that off of there. And we're actually gonna attempt to fit a new roof lining onto this board ourselves, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it does come out nice. So let us know what you think about that in the comment section, us giving that a go. We think it's a good idea. We haven't really got anything to lose, apart from obviously the expensive kit, but we're quietly confident that we'll be able to nail this. So let us know what you think about that. I am going to chuck it on time lapse actually, and we'll clean this up today before we go, so that we know when the kit comes, it will be ready. Like anything, guys, we believe preparation is key. And Chris just said, now we have, you probably see us running around now. Chris give it a good rub down with a bit of Scotch-Brite, and I was following him around with a hoover, getting it off, and it's actually tacked up. It's actually quite tacky, like the original glue that they put on it. So, all in all, we think with a good bit of prep, this is going to come out absolutely fine. We do have a little kick in it here at the back. You probably see that hanging down. But what we'll do is we'll clamp that up with a piece of wood or a piece of metal and get that back exactly how it should be. And we'll await for that to turn up, and we'll do a bit of a video on it. But yeah, it's very sticky already, and we would like to think that we've got the majority of it off. We will go outside with it with an airline and give it a good blowout before we do it, but that is going to be a whole nother video. That will be the end of today's video, guys. As usual, please leave your comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, leave your questions down there as well. We really do appreciate all the positive comments. on the videos on this build. We are nailing through it as fast as we can, but trying to do it the absolute best we can. Hopefully providing you with great content. You're really enjoying it. So far, so good. Everybody is really happy with what's going on, and we're really happy with the progress that we're making on it. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram for some little sneak peeks throughout the day. I've just put up a little sneak peek of this. Well, I've put a couple up today. So the people on Instagram do know there is a video coming. The merchandise, if you haven't already, guys, check the merch store out. The link is in the description. It's not done by us. It is done by an outside company, and we really do appreciate all the support. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe and share, and we'll see you in the next one.